ओके आई थिंक हम स्टार्ट करते हैं, बाकी साथ साथ ज्वाइन कर लेंगे।
Okay, good. We can do
ओके
that. तो मैं शेयर करूं?
श्योर सर, आप शेयर करें।
Okay, it says what's the ये मेरी स्लाइड्स में कैसे शो कर सकता हूँ?
सर आप शेयर को क्लिक करें ना।
जी हाँ, मैं शेयर को मैंने क्लिक कर दिया है और इसमें मुझे ऑप्शन पूछ रहा है विंडोज में कैसे मैं, और लेट्स से ये मैंने किया हुआ है। अब मैं इसको, अच्छा हाँ, अब आ गया। यस, शेयर। ये आपको शेयर हो रहा है?
यस सर।
गुड। ओके, let us start. Okay, the topic of discussion today is generative AI, and my name is Muhammad Ismatullah Khan. I'm currently working as Dean Faculty of Computing and Information Technology at International Islamic University. It's a very hot topic. I believe many of you probably baffled by it already. It's impacting us in many ways. And I have been looking at its progression from the last, let's say, 4 to 5 years, and really enjoying it in many ways. And I can see that the world is divided into two parts right now. कुछ लोग हैं जो कि इसके फैलाव से खौफजदा हैं, और कुछ लोग हैं वो इसको बड़ी खामोशी से देख रहे हैं, और देयर आर I will say a minority probably in this part of the world who are enjoying its growth. So I can say that I am one of those. I'm really enjoying it. उसकी बहुत सारी reasons हैं. One of the main reason is that I can relate to its growth because from the last 3 to 4 years, I'm working practically into it. I have developed some systems using AIs and machine learning, and really feel the strength and power of AI, or enjoying it. उसको ग्रो करते, और इसमें बहुत सारे लोग जो उसमें engage हो रहे हैं. I'm seeing them कि वो कारवान बनता जा रहा है, and this is really amazing for me, and I can see the future. Definitely the future belongs to generative AI. तो हम इस टॉपिक को बड़ा ही जिसे कहते हैं फ्रेंडली तरीके से move on करेंगे इसमें. और if you have any question at any slide, you can stop me, you can ask question. Basically the idea is कि इस particular जो भी आज का टॉपिक है, इसको हम एक डिस्कशन पॉइंट समझेंगे. So these whatever I say today is entirely my own opinion. I'm not claiming I am correct, I'm precise. I'm not saying this. What I'm saying is कि कुछ मेरी observations हैं, कुछ मेरी फीलिंग्स हैं, और कुछ चीज़ों के बारे में मैं पैशनेट हूँ, तो मैं जिस चीज़ें कह रहा हूँ. बट यू आर फ्री टू डिसएग्री. You are also free to discuss with me, and if there is something that the people need to know, and where I am entirely wrong, then you can tell me. I don't feel anything like this that कि मैं ठीक हूँ. So I can be wrong, and I really, from all, let's say, from the last 25 years of my academic experience, I always go with this claim that I am not always right. So जो लोग मेरे साथ क्लासेस लेते रहे हैं, उनको ये बात बड़ी अच्छी तरह पता है कि they can argue with me at any time in the class, and during the lecture also they can even refute what I'm saying, and they can even talk whatever they like. So this is something that I feel that debate is very important in nurturing a generation that will be very much intelligent. So the पहली निशानी जो इंटेलिजेंस की होती है वो आर्गुमेंट होता है. So if somebody don't argue, then basically it tells me that they don't either understand, or for them it is not important. So please, if you feel something somewhere, just let me know. Okay, so should we go forward, everybody? Hello, are you with me?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Okay, good. Okay.
एक्चुअली
So,
सर सबके माइक ओपन नहीं है, तो इफ देयर वुड बी एनी क्वेश्चन तो दे कैन चैट, मगर उनके माइक्स ओपन नहीं है।
so मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा? How would I know that? Um, so
एक सेकंड में अलाउ कर देती हूँ।
हाँ प्लीज अलाउ कर दें, क्योंकि पता क्या है, it should be a lively session. They're allowed to talk. I don't mind. And I'm not
ओके ओके
bothered by interruption. So if you want to interrupt me, go ahead, do it. I'm not bothered by it.
ओके
So
श्योर।
that's okay with me. Okay. So let's move to the first slide. And the first slide is a very famous slide that I have. Um, it's from 1966 in California. Many of the school teachers basically came out on the street, and they were protesting about the use of calculators and computers are coming over into their classrooms. And they were very, very afraid that with this new technology, they will be jobless. They will not be able to do the conventional way of teaching and learning, and it will jeopardize their job and everything, and it will eat out, and things will happen. So they were protesting about it, and this picture is exactly about this. And I brought it here for one particular reason, and that reason is that I'm seeing the same trend now against ChatGPT. Many of the teachers, faculty members across Islamabad that I met, are across Pakistan or many other countries. They are basically complaining that if the chat GPT is allowed in the classroom, if we let them make the code for us, if we take some English lessons from it or some math lessons using ChatGPT, probably it will take over. It will take over the what you call them, the learning process. Whereas I strongly feel that every technology that comes basically is coming to help you out. You need to make accommodation for it. You need to embrace the technology, because the more you deny it, the more it will spread without you. The technology don't need you, you need the technology. So you should be coming forth and making it part of the curriculum, part of your daily teaching and learning, and try it to enhance the experience, rather than to have a fight with it. So this is my idea, that I feel chat gpt is the one of the best thing that happened to computer science. That is one of the best thing. And I am a practicing computer scientist, I can say. And really, ChatGPT is a very, very big help. But it's not eating my job. That's I'm confirming. Okay, so most of the people are thinking like that. Um, Now let me go over what kind of jobs are available in the market. That should be our starting point, because um, every time we look at computer science studies are trying to decide where we should basically get the education from. And the very first question that you should be asking is, um, once I complete this particular program of study, how I will be able to get into the job market. Um, that is important from many reasons. Um, One of the important reason is psychological, because once you complete your education and you get a job, you are psychologically satisfied that your education is paying you back. So this paying you back is a very important concept. So I feel that most of the computer science students, are the information technology students, are the software students, probably sometime miss that goal of getting a decent job, and they concentrate more on their education as per se. So I feel that keeping this goal with you is very important all the time, that you need to enter into the job market. And so you should be preparing for the job market. That's important. Yes, any question? I can see there was a small click somewhere. Shumaila, do you see any click, any question? Okay. If you have a question, please ask me. You can stop me. You don't need to raise hand. You can just open the mic and talk to me. Okay. So here is the job profile, a very generic job profile. I just saw it that day on. I'm sorry, with AIOBC, we should not be talking about it. But anyway, they want the job to be advertised, so I'm advertising the job for them. So what it says is that it's a full-time job and for the AI engineer, and the engineer will be responsible for tasks such as pattern recognition, neural network development, software development, natural language processing, to support cutting-edge projects and technology solutions. By the way, my basic education is in image processing. So my PhD was in digital image processing and then pattern recognition. So this is the core of AI. I feel that I was very fortunate enough, and make the right decisions. I did my PhD basically in 1999, so before even 2000. So I was kind of lucky in that sense that I chose the right topic for my PhD, and this topic has grown up over the years, and then it comes into machine learning and things like that. So the basics of this AI is image processing. So I'm kind of related to it. And then you can see very clearly it talks about neural network development. Neural network is a machine learning process. We'll talk about it. And then the software development. You can see very clearly that the demand of the employer is, if you took a look at the order, the first order is pattern recognition. He wants that anyone who wanted to come for this job, he should be really good at pattern recognition. And I agree with that. I mean, pattern recognition is one of the things that is immensely helpful if you want to go into AI. AI is basically facilitating the job of the pattern recognition. So pattern recognition is a very settled um, area or domain in very much in collaboration with image processing. So if you look at image processing, the very last few topics are pattern recognition. So anybody who's doing image processing, the natural progression is to do pattern recognition. So it's like part A and part B. Um, then it comes to neural network. Neural network development, basically, in my time, neural network were very highly unpredictable. And they were not producing very consistent results. And most of the people at that time and the students back in 2000 used to call neural network as a magic box. And in PhD, when you're doing research in image processing or in pattern recognition, people try to avoid magic boxes because magic boxes are certain things that you can't explain in your thesis. So anything you can't explain or provide reasons should not be part of your PhD thesis. So that's how people try to run away from it. Um, and probably that's the reason I did not pay attention. But anyhow, I did pay attention to neural network in the form of trellis coding. So trellis is a kind of deep neural networks. So when I look at nowadays deep neural network, I sometimes in a reflection, I go back to my PhD thesis, which was about trellis. So trellis is a structure uh, very similar to tree structure, but close to neural networks. The days we have, it was like this. The only I think difference is nowadays they add non-linearities and we don't use to. So this is the probably reason. But I think the main revolution that came into use of neural network for pattern recognition came from back propagation. That's why the Hunton that basically invented or discovered back propagation to update the weights of the deep neural network, he got a Nobel Prize now. So it's a very big thing because before that, people were like not that good. They were skeptical about can they use neural networks. But once you have a neural network with this back propagation, idea of updating the weights, then it become a very powerful and in some way controlled environment. So once you have a controlled environment, of course, you can produce repeated results, and repeated results give you consistency, and that's why these neural networks out there. Then if you see after this, he talks about software development. So now software development, I very strongly feel came at the third position. So first position, pattern recognition, neural network, and then third one is software development. So software development has been influenced by machine learning and AI and autopilot. So I think software development, the way it used to be, has completely transformed now. Um, it has many of its components are become, I don't want to say this, but kind of quote unquote become redundant now, because and the other components are added, which are the AI-based design, AI-based software testing, AI-based evaluation of the software. So software development is I think is one of the area which is very badly hit by this hurricane. This ये जो तूफान आया है एआई का, अगर अब मुझसे कोई पूछे कि कौन सा एरिया है जो सबसे ज्यादा इफेक्ट हुआ है, I will say very clearly software development. Software development completely upside down कर दिए AI. It has changed it completely from upside down. Now the things that used to be important are no more. So emphasis change हो गया है. I will not say the theory has been changed, but the emphasis has been changed definitely. And then the fourth part of is called natural language processing. Now, natural language processing. We done a project for the Malaysia um, a year ago, and I'm really excited about it. Natural language processing is kind of text processing, and the way we look at the text, we humans, we look at it from a very different perspective, because we have a lot of context in our mind when we look at any sentence. So, but when the machines look at the sentences, they don't have the context. So in order to bring that context and to give him the same kind of comprehension of the sentence written in English, um, it's remarkable. So natural language processing has come a long way with self-attention transformers and things like that. They're amazing, and they work in translations from English to French language, translating into Arabic language and any other language. So it's really amazing job, and making the text understandable by a machine the same way we humans understand. That's I feel a very big achievement. So NLP is definitely a very important component if you want to go into AI. So these four parts I will feel that is very important if somebody want to embark on the journey of AI: pattern recognition, image processing, deep neural network development, of course, software development, and the most important in software is the object oriented. Oops. Yeah, object oriented design is the most amazing thing that happened to any coding paradigm. And although it has been 2 decades, still I really enjoy it when I look at it. It's a remarkable framework. Classes and objects. It is a very powerful concept, and most of the software, I will say, whether it is Android app, or I will say it is a Python programming, or I will say JavaScript, Node.js, .NET, any framework that you pick, you will see at the core of it is the classes and objects. So this is a very subtle concept that you should be really skillful if you really wanted to go on this journey, because you will come across this many of the times. So as I told you, I'm still baffled by it, and I do it. So these are the four parts of the puzzle that if you combine, you make a picture out of it. Then what we do is basically the era I will say, the AI models, generative AI models, like Llama, and Llama has many versions. There is a 3.1, 3.2 now came out, Mistral 7B, my pet favorite, but nowadays it just came down from the popularity. Now Mixtral is a better one. Um, and also I like LoRa. LoRa is basically for fine tuning a base model to adopt according to your example. So um, I will go into this why we use fine tuning. Then, if you look into it, this employer is asking for retrieval augmented generation RAG, a very powerful concept. What basically it says that if you have a system or a model, let's talk about the model. Now, what is a model? I will just go into it a little bit more detail, but a model is something which sits between input and output. So a model takes the input and gives you the output. So think about it, it's like a box which is sitting between two guys on left and right. One is called input, another is called output, and it's like sitting like bridging input to the output. So it's like a bridge between them. So that model um, is called retrieval augmented generation. So these AI models can help you in implementing this RAG. Now, what is RAG? Basically, when you ask any question from a generative model, it's supposed to generate answer for you. I'm using a very particular word called generate. I'm not saying create or something. So bear with me why I'm using this word generate for you. Uh, Generate this particular um, answer for you. So when a question is given, which we call query and generate. So since it is trained on some knowledge that has a cutoff date, because that cutoff date means by that time the model stop getting the example and it produced the output. So this model has a cutoff knowledge date. For example, 2021 was the ChatGPT 4, 3.5 probably. ChatGPT 4 you had December something 2022. This is a cutoff date. After this, no data has been added. Um, so in order to make it up to date, what we give basically is we attach some PDF or some knowledge from some document, and then we force it to give us the answer from that document. So it means we are making it relevant to the new knowledge. So this is called augmentation, because you are augmenting the model's knowledge base with adding your own document to it. So you're adding the documents and you're making it a most relevant up to date. For example, you can add to today's newspaper, and then when you ask a question it will try to find it from the internet. If it can't find it, then you go into your newspaper and try to find the answer. So it means that it has now a knowledge of the current events. Yeah, so this is called RAG. So the employer in this job want you to be good at RAG as well. Now let's move towards qualification. So if I go to the next slide, so what are the qualification? Pattern recognition neural network, as I discussed already, are very important. Experience with AI models. So they want you to have some experience with these models, how these models. Basically, keep in mind that these are text completion models or chat models. So they will generate question answers for you. You ask anything and they will try to answer you. LoRa is different. LoRa is not a model. LoRa is a fine tuning method. It's really amazing. I think 2 weeks back, I did some fine tuning and I find LoRa was very helpful. It's a very comprehensive package, or I will say framework, that let you train your um, neural network on your data, so that it become adaptive to what you want. So it means that if you want to give the model, which is a generalized model, and you want to give it a tone, if you want to make it, for example, a medical chat GPT, so you will give him medical books and train it on medical books. So although it was before a generalized model, but after fine tuning, it become a medical chat GPT. Or you can give him a lawyer's books and train it on lawyers. So before it was a generalized model, and now it becomes a lawyer's chat GPT. So it becomes like a flavor. You try to give him more of the flavor. So although before it was having all type of flavors, now one of the flavor is more dominant. This happens because of fine tuning the model. Yeah. Oh, I forget my tea. I'm sorry. Let me take my tea. And um, same as expertise in software development, mostly it's OOPS, then natural language processing, it's a text processing, bachelor or master degree in computer science. Mm, but then there's even beyond qualification, strong problem solving and analytical skills. Um, I would be honest with you because you are my dear students and being spent some time in the industry as well as in the academia. I can say something from my own experience is that most of the computer science people, they are good in their own, like software development. They are really good. Maybe they are good in NLP, RAG, or models, but they lack at strong problem solving and analytical skills. They're not good at solving problems um, and solving these things analytically. So when you analyze things, it means that you are making a complex problem into small pieces. This is called analyzing a problem, and then you can take each piece and try to find uh, the problem in that piece. So this is a very good way of problem solving, and most of the people who are in this field, uh, I will not say in this field, but overall in any of the education field, they lack this skill, how to um, dissect a very complex problem into small pieces and then try to settle each pieces and then join the pieces, which is called synthesis, and give you the answer. So this part of breaking a complex uh, problem into small pieces, manageable small pieces, um, solving each piece separately, and then combining them into one big piece again, called synthesis, and putting their solution. So this is a very um, nice way of looking at things, but most of the people don't have this understanding or appreciation for this type of problem solving. So this is very important in computer science. Other thing that is really important: excellent communication and teamwork. I saw in my academic journey as well as mostly in industry, people are really good. They're good in, let's say, problem solving. They're good in natural language. They're good in their grades are really excellent. They're good in llama model. They're good in pattern recognition, but they cannot work with other people. They are solo player. They can dance on the floor separately, but if somebody else comes on the floor, then they all their skills are gone. So they cannot communicate with the people. They are not a team players. And in order for a project to be successful in real life, you cannot do it alone. You need different people. And then with their help, you make a very strong team and then you move forward. Um, that is a strategy that is being adopted. But if you don't have those communication skills, you are a very sensitive person, then what happens is sometimes you cut yourself off from the mainstream and you try to do everything by yourself. um, but you should keep in mind that if you try to make discussions with the people around you, you try to build a team, then you can do a much better job. Yeah. Yes. Any question till now? Because I feel I'm moving in a very fast way, probably, or very slow way. Then you can stop me. Any question till now? Hello?
No, sir.
Are you are all sleeping? Because I don't hear anything from you.
No, sir.
Okay. I hope that I'm not left alone, because one of the problem with the online lecture is you sometimes feel that you are alone, you know, and lonely. Okay. So no question till now. Any everything is okay with you,
Yes.
everybody? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
everything is okay.
Yes,
If you have,
sir.
you can stop me anywhere, and you feel
Yes,
that
sir.
you can stop me. Yeah, and my voice is clear to you. Everybody able to understand what I'm saying, or the
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
volume is okay. Okay, good.
Sir.
So you, yes, please go ahead and stop me if anywhere you feel that you need to make some argument or discussion or a comment or something. Okay, that will tell me that I'm not alone. Okay. So let me move forward to the next one. So now you should feel that you got a job because you went through the qualification, you went through what you need to have in order to get that job. Okay. So AI job is with you, and now you are given a task. The very first task that probably you will come across in AI, the very famous task, is to separate dogs from the cats. So this is a very famous first litmus test to keep you um, entered into the field of AI. So AI, probably I feel that it is the beginning point, that if you are given cats and dog images, how would you label them, dog and cat? So your idea is basically to do a discrimination. So discrimination modeling is that all you are given some samples whose 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 labels are already available to you. And once those labels are available to you, you can basically use them to train your model, and your model will be able to give you um, weights. Once you get those weights, now you can give him an image, and it should automatically tell you what is the label. So it knows whether this particular input that you gave it is a dog or a cat. So it's called discriminative modeling. Uh, that part of um, the job is mostly with the machine learning. So this is like a old days pattern recognition, kind of given some better cosmetics, and now it become a machine learning. So machine learning was basically um, a kind of creating a discriminative model that should be able to discriminate between one class and another class. So given some input, it should be able to produce the required label or the required output once trained. That is okay. That is fine. That has its own use cases, definitely. But the most interesting case comes once you go to generative modeling. So most of the AI that we see nowadays is under this particular category, which is called generative modeling. And generative modeling is kind of the reverse process. In discriminative, we basically give it um, an input, and we try to find its class label. In generative, we basically have the class label, and we wanted to recreate the input. So it's a completely reverse process. Um, can you see that before you gave it an input, and you wanted to basically create a label out of it. And then I think, Kamal, you can turn off the mic, and then once somebody take the hand, then we can basically answer. Yeah, raise the hand, then we can answer. Okay, so now we have the generative model. So generative model, you basically gave it and it's already a class. So class label is given, and based on the label, you want it to generate again the input. So it's a reverse process. For example, here, if you see in this slide that you have dogs category, and now you have a cats category. So if somebody gave you a dog category and you train your system on the dog category, now if it gives you any dog, you should be able to create its features, like what type of ears are there for a dog, what type of tail should be there, the color of the eyes and things like that. So it means you should be able to understand the samples, and you should be able to create more samples, more observations, more dog images. So for example, if you have a generative model, then it means that you have, let's say, 200 images, and you train it. Now it should be able to create 201, 202, 203. These images should be able to be generated because you learned what type of images these are. So this is called a generative model. So it has a completely different goal than that of the discriminative model. And so this is really amazing. So that's where the generative AI comes in, because it basically takes you from that old idea of just discrimination, which was a pattern recognition. It brings you into a completely different new world. Okay. So now, what is this generative AI? Uh, we can think of it as a model that is trying to mimic the actual model. So we have an actual model that has created an output given an input, and we try to approximate that model from the data. So if you have a lot of data, input and output data, which we call them labeled data, then you should be able to make an, a very good approximation of the real world true model. You should be able to make that model close enough. I don't want to say this that you will make, but I will say that you will do a pretty good job at making that true model in many ways. Um, that model will come very close to what the true model is. So this is the whole idea behind generative AI, that we should be able to get a large amount of data and then throwing this data into some machine. That machine will give us that particular model, and that model will now be able to generate the same kind of output uh, for a given inputs the way our true model used to be. So it's kind of like mimicking the things. Okay. So now we understood that generative AI is a very powerful uh, models. They can do things. They can generate the output for given inputs. Even in some cases, the normal methods of generating model fails. So it can produce. So it has a very high reputation now. They are making their ways into many use cases. However, there is a very big however. Let's look at this opinion, um, the opinion of Douglas, which says that I frankly am baffled by the allure for so many unquestionable inside people, including friend of mine, doing this. But the main question is in a real life situation where the distinction between truth and falsity and between genuineness and fakeness is absolutely crucial to me. It makes no sense whatsoever to let the artificial voice of a chatbot chatting randomly away at dazzling speed replaces the far slower but authentic and reflective voice of a thinking, living human being. Now here comes a very strong opinion that most of those generative AI models, LLM, let's say, large language model, um, they have something which we call fluency. Fluency means that they are at a very high speed, they can generate text, images, or voices. Um, but then there is an element of accuracy. Um, there is a very big truth behind LLM कि LLM जो है बहुत डिटाई के साथ झूठ बोलते हैं, इतने कॉन्फिडेंटली झूठ बोलते हैं कि आपको लगता है कि वो सच बोल रहे हैं. So this is the limitation of LLM. Sometimes when you are working with an LLM, you will realize that after a couple of chatting attempts by LLM, you may stumble upon something which is completely false. But the way LLM will present to you, it looks to you that this is the precise answer. You need to be really careful because what LLM are good at, they are good at fluency, but they are not good at precise knowledge. Another point of view is that for LLM, there is no way to judge whether it is telling you the right things or wrong things because whatever the training has been done on the LLM, that's how they will spit out the answer. So if you train them on wrong things, and you can do this experiment in ChatGPT, if you, for example, tell them 2 plus 2 is 3, and it says to you, no, it is 4, you say, no, it is 3. After 2 or 3 attempts, it will start believing you, and whenever you ask him 2 plus 2, it will give you 3. So it means it is just the training that has been done, and there was no mechanism to check whether it is telling you the truth or not. But apart from that, it's basically a fluency is the attribute of LLM. It gives you answer on a blazing speed. But does those answer always make sense? Sometimes no. Sometimes they are wrong. They're not authentic answers. You should keep in mind because it's going into the internet and picking any website. So you need to have some guards, rails around it. You need to protect yourself from it. So you need to really give it a good prompting, I will say. And the good prompt is that always go to this particular source to get the answer so that you know that the source is authentic. So you need to refer it to some source from where the answer should come, where you believe that this source is correct. If you don't give this type of prompting and then you let it unleash, then probably it may go into some very wrong direction. For example, if there are websites which talks about that the earth is round, and then there are some very few which says earth is flat. So maybe when you ask him what type of earth is, it will tell you it is flat, but it is correct because it has taken this information from some website. But if you tell him go to some authentic sources and bring me the answer, then probably it will go that earth is round. Because the reason is if you don't guide him properly. So what the LLM needs, it needs proper guidance to make an environment where it can go and bring you the output based on what you think is the truth is. Because truth is, philosophically speaking, is a relative term. What is truth for you may not be truth for me. What you like, I don't like, and what I like, you don't like. So it means that the LLM is doing from the internet, and there are millions of sources on the internet. Some are fake, some are authentic, some are good, some are vague. It is just bringing you the information. Okay, that's what it is good at. So you need to have that one filter that can tell you whether you are looking at the right source or information. Okay. Um, Another thing is that Real world outside of text are nevertheless perfectly reliable authorities about the world at large in a deep mistake. Saying that whatever the chat GPT or the LLM or the generative AI is saying is completely correct without authenticating it, we are making a very deep mistake, especially if a high stake use case is there. God forbid, it's a hospital where you need to make a decision and you ask the chat GPT about the situation. It may give you a completely wrong answer and you act upon it, and drastic things will happen. Or you are flying an aeroplane and you ask the question how to fly it down, maybe how to turn on the autopilot, and gives you some instructions that are not right. How? But if you make a rack system and you give him the flying instructions that you believe in, that manual is attached, and then you ask the question and you guide him that take the answer from the manual, then yes, it will be easily bring you the answer without reading the whole book. So you don't need to read the whole book. You ask the question, it will itself go into the book and bring you the best answer. So that is a perfectly all right thing to do. But I'm saying just be skeptical about if you unleash it. Okay. Yes. Any question till now? Yes. Hello. Hello. Any question? Hello. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you
Sir.
understand what I'm talking right now? आपको
Yes, sir.
आपको समझ आ रहा है जो मैं बातें कर रहा हूँ?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So if we go into this slide, this talks about how a generative AI is developed. If you have data points and you wanted to generate the model basically tries to follow the data points as close as possible. So it's kind of like approximating a function. That's how it is trained. So that is okay because it is trying to fill the gaps between the samples. This is called interpolation. So it's perfectly okay. No danger here. But the danger arises the next slide when you have made it follow something and then you let it unleash and it can go into any path that it likes, not in your control. That's where it could be a very dangerous object. It can go into whatever the direction it likes, because you let it go without controlling. So what I mean is, if it is interpolation, it is okay, but if it is extrapolation, then you need to be careful. Yeah, you need to basically train it to do extrapolation. Okay, now this is again the discriminative modeling and generative modeling. These are two modes of operation in a generative AI. Okay. So here is the slide about supervised and unsupervised learning. So in supervised learning, you have some output. So once your system gives you an output, you try to compare it with the already corrected output. And if there is an error, then the error is fed back as a back propagation. And you basically improve your model to make less number of errors. Okay. And that's how you call it supervised learning. In unsupervised learning, you don't have that correction mechanism. So if you give it to the model some input data, then the model will generate examples. Now there is no way you can check whether these generated examples are correct or not. So it just has to learn it by itself, some patterns. Although it's a very difficult method, unsupervised learning, but I think it's the most interesting method because you basically are putting some constraint around your model, putting some conditions around your model, and you put it in a cushion, and it tries to basically provide you the answer living within that cushion. So this is how unsupervised learning is. Okay. Now again, this is the discriminative on the left hand side, and on the right is generative modeling. So probably we already discussed with it. Then there are many ways to do generative AI. One particular way is called GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. Why you call it adversary? You know, adversary means that somebody who is opposing you. So in this particular model, we basically try to recreate some samples, same as the original sample. So let's say we have 200 samples, we want to create 200 more. So these 200 more can come from GAN. In case of GAN, you basically start from noise, and then you basically try to convert this noise into a sample. But in this case, you have a generator and discriminator. This discriminator is the kind of a policeman which try to stop your wrong. So the discriminator is kind of a policeman that don't let you pass through some barrier, and you are trying to pass through the barrier. So generator is um, generating samples, and those samples has to pass through that barrier, and the barrier is not trying to let you pass. So you need to fake it uh, by genuine person. So you create a personality of the sample such that it should look like a genuine sample, so that the discrimination should be fooled around. So if you become successful in fooling the discriminator, then the discriminator is updated. So once the discriminator is powerful not to let you go, then the generator has to be updated. So it means they both are doing the competition with each other to win, because the win of one is the loss of the other. In this particular competition, which we call them zero-sum competition, because at the end of the day, the winner is not one or the other, but the zero sum. So the both improves, and in this case, a time comes when generator produce such a nice sample that are almost same as the original ones. So this is called adversarial network, because in this one there are two adversaries and they are fighting with each other. Another one very famous nowadays, especially for text generation, is the transformer-based model. The transformer-based model is very nice because what happens in case of generative AI, um, that when they create or generate text, we don't call them generate text, we call them text completion models. What happens is that it creates a text, and then at the end of this text, it has to create the next word. So it creates word by word. So it tries not to create the whole sentence, it is creating the next word. And once that next word is created, it become again create the next word, the next word, the next word. So this way it completes the whole sentence. So in this case, since when you are creating the next word, you're only dependent on the previous word. But in case of transformer, the nice thing is that it does not only look at the last, very last word, it looks at the previous words as well and try to give them weights based on the importance, based on the attention that they should get. So because of this strategy, it is able to create a next word much better than just relying on the previous word. So in this way, it is like in some way it is creating that context, because in a human language, when we talk to each other, we basically talk based on context. Let's, for example, if I say where, now where doesn't have any meaning, but it has a context that previously I was talking about International Islamic University, then where means that I'm talking about Islamic University. That's very understood. But if I don't give you that context and just give you where, then you will not know where, what you mean by where. So this is the transformer actually look at the previous sentence, complete sentence, and try to make a sense of different words, to give different weights to the word, and then it creates the next word. So it's a powerful way of looking at it. Most of the, by the way, Hugging Face models are transformer based models. So Hugging Face is a very famous repository for the AI people. Whoever is working in AI probably know about it. Hugging Face is a very good storage where most of the models are there. And those models are basically transformer-based model if they belong to the text. So text generation, text completion, um, NLP, mostly, I think the very famous one that I worked with last time was uh, BARD. BARD is a very nice method that basically give you the numerical meaning. So this is called semantic meaning. So if you have a sentence and you wanted to know the meaning of it, then you need to convert it into numbers, because the computers basically, when they wanted to crunch, they don't crunch text, they crunch numbers. So it is very important that the text should be converted into numbers. But this conversion is called embedding in generative AI jargon. And this embedding is very important, that this should be based on semantics. For example, king and queen are two different words, but they should have a numerical encoding such that they should be closer number to each other. And if I say a gardener, then that should be far away. So the numbers given to, so numerical encoding of the text should be such that it should provide closeness to all those text words which are similar to each other. And if the words are not similar to each other, then they should be far away from each other in that particular embedding space. So this is called numerical embedding or numerical um, translation of the text. So transformer make use of this. Another one very famous is the diffusion model. It's really interesting. I had worked with it in 2007. I have a paper on this one. Um, but at that time, there was no neural network. Anyway, my work was really related to it. So I can really appreciate that. Diffusion models. Diffusion model basically means that if you have an image and you try adding noise to it, so it becomes noisy and noisy and noisy. At the end, the noise becomes so much that the picture disappears. It's just like you have an old picture, dust and comes on top of it, and after some time, the dust is so much that you can't really comprehend what the picture shows. Now, in order to really, if you have a machine that basically take an image and try adding noise to it and see how the image is gone from a very nice, beautiful resolution and goes to nothing. If you look into and track this process and it learns that process, then we expect from that machine that it should be able to go back from this dusty picture again to the real picture. It should be dusting be removed from it. So if a machine learns the first pass, which is going from a very nice, beautiful picture to a dusty picture, then it should be able to go back from dusty to this one. So this is the whole idea behind diffusion. So in diffusion, we train him like this from the nice picture to the dusty picture, and then we give him a dusty picture, and it gives us a new bright image. But that image may not be same as the original one, but at least it has generated a new image for him. This is how the DALL-E in ChatGPT works when it give him a text and you ask him to create an image for you. So the text to image is mostly the diffusion process. Okay. Then there is another one which is called variational autoencoders. And in autoencoders, you have two modules. One is encoder, and another one is decoder. So what is the idea behind encoder is that it takes a very high dimensional input. And if you are taking linear algebra with me, then you will understand what I'm talking about. A higher dimensional object is being projected onto a lower dimensional space. When you do this, basically what you're doing is you are creating essential features from it. So most of the features that are with that particular object are not inherently part of that object. They are there just because of some transformation. So once you bring this higher dimensional feature set to a lower dimensional feature set, all the non-necessary, non-essential features are gone, and the bare minimum is left. This bare minimum is called latent. Latent means the hidden dimension. So now you have the dimension that exactly defines you. In other words, it is your DNA. So, by the way, so the DNA basically has all of the essential characteristic of the object. Now, from this DNA, when it when you change this DNA a little bit, like you add noise to it and you give it to decoder, since this DNA is disturbed now, the decoder will try to recreate again the same person, taking it from lower dimension to higher dimension. But now, since the lower dimension DNA is disturbed, it will create a new image for you. So this is also a way of generating samples, generating new outputs while learning from the inputs. So this is a generation process. It's not a discrimination process. It's a generation process. So these are the very famous few methods that I told you about how you can look into these generation process. Now let's look into some observations from the LLMs. LLMs, basically I'm using interchangeably the LLMs and the generative AI, because for me, generative AI is kind of LLM. So if pardon me if I'm using those two words interchangeably for you. So when LLMs are inaccurate, they are very confidently, fluently inaccurate. I told you that if it tells you the lies, then it tells you with such a confidence that you believe that these are the truth. So you have to be really careful. I already discussed with you. Google Translate, when it launched on the first time, it was not launched on a very large corpus. Now, what is corpus? Corpus is the training set on which the model was trained. That is called. So the larger the corpus is, the better the weights is. But keep in mind, every model has a capacity. So when it reaches to its capacity, any new addition in the training sample will not improve it. So you need to understand that every model has a capacity to digest data. And in case of AI, we don't call it digest, we call it ingest. So it ingests data into it, into its body, just like we people take vitamins. But there is a limit to how much vitamins we can take. Similarly, there is a limit to how much data it can ingest. You cannot give him more data than it can ingest. So this is how you need to be careful with it. Very complex, and LLMs. So improving the accuracy of the LLM is a very complex process. It's more of an art than a science. Hyperparameters. You need to. There are like two types of parameters when you are training an LLM. There is a for example, um, um, these parameters, which we call them weights. And when you train them, you can improve the weights. Yeah? But there are hyperparameters which you don't improve during the training process. These are like beyond your training. These are the ones that lay out the initial conditions, are the cushion that I told you. So you don't change the cushion. You can change everything inside the cushion, but the cushions are there in the place. So these are called hyperparameters. So in order to set those hyperparameters is an art, is not a science. So you need to be artistic to really make an LLM accurate. But making LLM fluent is easier, but making LLM accurate is difficult. So you need to really understand the difference between fluency and accuracy. And that's the name of the game. Okay. As I told you, the difference between accuracy and fluency, you can just say, for example, if somebody asks you to make a story, then fluency is important. Accuracy is not important. But if you are a doctor and diagnosing somebody, then of course fluency is not important. Accuracy is important. So you need to know what is your use case, where are you using LLM, and based on that you need to produce some real guards, protection against any of hallucinations. Hallucinations is another word that is being used with LLM, um, because LLM can produce the false narrations, false results. And those false narrations and false results basically can be attributed to hallucinations. And if you don't give him enough data, for example, if I'm using a RAG model and the answer is not that I ask him in question, that question answer is not available in the attached document, because in RAG we attach the documents, then definitely it will hallucinate. Hallucinate means it will try to create the answer by itself. It will never give you that I don't know the answer. It's very hard for LLM to say, I don't know the answer. It will create answer because it is famous for fluency. But that answer may not be accurate. So that's what you need to keep in mind. Okay. So these are some of the other observations I had. Then how to train an LLM. There is a fine tuning, as I told you. I will not go into this generation, evaluation, and process. Generative AI use cases. You can generate images, you can generate completion, you can use semantic image to photo translation, image manipulation, image super resolution, and many, many things that you can do. Video creation, video prediction, style transfer, weather prediction. So millions of use cases. And so AI is penetrating in everything. But as I told you, you need to be really careful with the limitations of the AI. And so in software development also, it can do wonderful things, but you need to make sure that you should not be generating data from AI. Rather, you should be asking it to complete the code. So you need to give him some code structure, and then it will complete the code for you. That's a better way, which we call them autopilot. So autopilot is a very famous generative AI example in code completion model. So code completion model are very famous nowadays. Almost every warehouse, almost so almost every software house that I came across in Islamabad make use of autopilots to complete the software. So the software coding is being used with autopilot a lot. Nowadays, even the VS Code editor has a plugin. The GitHub autopilot is there. The Chat GPT autopilot is there. People have made their own open source AI models based. So it's a very famous way of software development now. So so with that, I came to the end of few slides that I thought might be interesting to you all. So if you have any question or you want to discuss, then please let me know. So it's a question answer now open. Yes, ma'am, Shmaila. Yes. Hello. Hello.
लाइबा आपका हैंड रेज है, आप कुछ कहना चाह रही हैं?
जी please.
लाइबा? Okay, sir, I guess there are no questions right now.
You have any question yourself?
Actually मेरे पास फॉर्म में कुछ questions आए हैं.
Please पूछें.
Okay, wait. Achha, there's a question. What's the real impact AI and virtual reality can play in the coming years, and what about job security, one of challenges in the future?
Yeah, very nice question. As I told you, I shown you a picture that when the computers came, many of the teachers were very skeptical about it, that probably it will eat out their jobs. They will not be most of the math teachers were on the roads. But you see, the technology has to come. When the TV came in, I remember in my childhood, people used to really shy away from having TVs in the house, and now even the mobile phone has the everywhere. So you see, the technology has to come. We need to know how to make it useful for us by looking at the uh, good part and bad parts. We need to analyze the good part and bad parts of it, and we should not entirely bar the technology. That is my point. We need to see what good we can get out of technology and use it. If there are some negative sides to it, then probably we can analyze it and stop it. We should put some barriers, but uh, saying that this is entirely wrong, ChatGPT is very, very harmful to the academics, I feel this is a very big claim that need to be really checked. Yeah. So the job security is definitely there if you are going along with the new ideas and you are working towards the basics. Now, what is the basics of computer science? I am very strong at linear algebra, mathematics, analytical skills, communication skills, and OOPs. If you're good in these subjects, you will never come down. There will be always demand for you in the market. But if you're good in frames, if you're good in web programming, if you're good in the last year subject only, the first and second year subjects are, you don't have the good grip on them. Your foundations will always be shaky. You will be always afraid to be replaced because the new frameworks will come, new technologies will come. So in computer science, the fourth year is not a very stable year for you for learning. This is just to keep you in touch with the current technologies, but within a 6-month time span, your technologies will change. I remember there used to be a JavaScript. Now there is TypeScript. There used to be .NET. Now it's some other framework came in. LangChain was there. Now LangGraph came in Python. So you see the framework will change over the night. Every night when I look at the YouTube, I see a new framework. It's coming. It's very fast. Software is changing. But if you have a good foundation, and the good foundation I told you, the programming language's good foundation is in the OOPs. If you're good in OOPs, you're good in classes and objects, you will never, nobody can beat you. If you're good in data structure, nobody can beat you. These are the basics of the computer science and information technology and computing. But if you are weak there, because math is the foundation of programming. If you're weak in math, you're weak in programming. Because now the syntax is gone. ChatGPT can give you a very good syntax. Nobody will hire you that you know the syntax. But for making a problem solve, if you know analytical skills, and analytical skills can only come from math. If you're good in linear algebra, if you're good in probability, these are the subjects which will make you skillful computer scientist. If you don't have those skills and you only know just the syntax, C sharp, C++, some other languages, the languages will change, of course. They will no longer be the same languages. The only thing that can basically save you will be your foundation. So you should be really paying attention to the foundation, I believe. So your job will not be in jeopardy. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Any other question?
सर एक चैट में क्वेश्चन है
जी जी
what are the potential risks and benefits of developing advanced AI system and what are implications of AI on privacy and data protection?
I believe there is no harm in making friendship with AI. It's a technology and it's coming very fast. So we need to really make a way for it. अगर आप पानी को रास्ता नहीं देंगे तो पानी अपना रास्ता खुद ही बना लेगा. So I believe we need to find a way to utilize it in a proper way. अब वो proper way क्या है ये आपने खुद एनालाइज करना है, लेकिन आपने इसको रास्ता जरूर देना है. आपने इसको अपनी डेली रूटीन में, अपने डेली उसमें यू नीड टू यूज इट. और इसकी मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि अगर आप इसको केयरफुली यूज करें तो आपको कोई इम्प्लीकेशंस आएंगी. Every system has an implications, plus and minus depends on how you use it. आप एक छुरी वाली मिसाल है, प्याज भी काट लें और गलत काम भी कर सकते हैं, किसी को मार भी सकते हैं. तो ये डिपेंड्स ऑन, उसका मतलब ये तो नहीं है कि छुरी खराब है. That means the usage. So it's the same thing with the AI. आप AI के जरिए क्या कर रहे हो? कोई क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटी कर रहे हो AI के जरिए, कोई फेक न्यूज बना रहे हो, कोई फेक पिक्चर बना रहे हो, then it's entirely you. Your intentions are wrong, not the technology is wrong. लेकिन अगर मैं क्लासरूम के लिए कोई कोई एनिमेशन बना रहा हूँ जिसके जरिए मैं सोच सकता हूँ कि मेरी क्लास को अच्छी तरीके से समझ आ जाएगी, एक टॉपिक है प्रोबेबिलिटी का, नहीं समझ आ रहा, एनिमेशन के जरिए समझ आ रहा, सो दिस इज आई एम डूइंग ए पॉजिटिव थिंग. मैं एक फेक एनिमेशन बना रहा हूँ जिसके जरिए मैं उनको समझा पाता हूँ कोई टॉपिक. सो दिस इज नॉट ए फेक थिंग, दिस नॉट रॉन्ग, दिस ऑल इंटेंशन. So intention is very important. Islam, maybe intention is very important. The action has to be seen in the light of the intention. So this is, I believe, what it is. So I don't feel there is any implication with AI, only that you need to know what is your intention, why you wanted to learn AI. So this is how it happens. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And there is another question.
Sure.
Can you share any tips or resources for beginners interested in exploring generative AI?
Yes, I was expecting this question. I was saying why this question is not coming. So my predictive model in my brain was telling me somebody will definitely ask this question. Thank you for asking this question. So you verified my model. Yes, I believe there is a basics to the AI, and the basic starts with image processing and probability. These two topics are very important to give you a good foundation for AI. Because most of the AI is around probability distributions, probabilistic frameworks. Most of the layers at the end of the deep neural network are softmax. Softmax is a probability layer. So in order to really understand deep neural network, you need to understand first how the conventional image processing works. Because the very first thing that probably you will encounter when you are on this journey is to discriminative modeling, which is to discriminate between dogs and cats. So you need to know the image processing, how the pixels are, how the low pass filtering works. This is not AI, but this is the basics of any of the picture processing. So once you know the basics of picture processing, then you will understand how the deep neural network works, like the convolutional neural network works, why convolution is needed. This convolution is all in the image processing. So in my opinion, if somebody really wanted to go, the foundations are very important. And the very foundations are image processing and probability. And then once you have the mastery of these two, then you can go into a very nice fast AI is a framework, is a very nice framework. I have a lots of appreciation for this. Fast AI is a framework which let you learn neural networks in a very nice object-oriented way. So you need to have object-oriented study very strong. Then image processing, probability. If you have these three skills, then you can go to fast AI, and it will let you experiment with many of the technologies in the AI, in the deep neural network. How many layers are there? How the weights are changed? How the data set is being made part of the training process, how the training process works, what is the learning rate. So you will understand that when you go into fast AI. So fast AI is a framework that will let you um, understand deep neural network. But in order to really understand that, you need to have some prerequisites that I told you. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Any other question? I hope I answered this question well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, there is one more.
Yeah, please.
How do you
Like,
ensure your AI models are ethical and unbiased?
yes. Hmm. Let me start with the bias. Um, Biasness is actually a background, a context. Um, so biasness comes once you don't have the full truth, you have the partial truth. Then whatever is your opinion, that is a biased opinion because you haven't seen the whole sample space. You saw a part of let अगर आपको याद हो वो हाथियों वाली कहानी है कि चार ब्लाइंड मैन थे वो हाथी देखने गए उनको शौक हुआ और वो हाथी देखने गए तो जिसके हाथ में जो पार्ट आया किसी ने अगर टांग पकड़ ली तो उसने कहा यार हाथी तो वैसे तुम लोगों ने कहा हुआ था एक्चुअली ये तो एक सतून है क्योंकि उसके हाथ में आ गया किसी के हाथ में उसकी दुम आ गई तो उसने कहा यार ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है ये तो वो जो सफाई करने वाली होती है ना उसके हाथ में झाड़ू होता है ये तो हाथी तो झाड़ू है तो वो जिसके हिस्से में जो ट्रुथ का पीस आया उसने उसको फुल ट्रुथ समझ के कह दिया um, और उसको बिलीव कर लिया दैट इज कॉल्ड बायसिंग बायस मीन्स कि यू डोंट सी द होल पर्सपेक्टिव आपने सब लोगों के पर्सपेक्टिव नहीं सुने आपने कुछ लोगों के पर्सपेक्टिव सुने और आपने ओपिनियन बना लिए so this is called biasness so biasness comes from deep neural network from the training samples अगर आपके ट्रेनिंग सैंपल्स के अंदर biasness मौजूद है कुछ एक कैटेगरी है जिसके ज्यादा सैंपल हैं एक कैटेगरी के आपने बहुत कम सैंपल डाले हुए हैं तो फिर जहरी बात है जब आप उसको ट्रेन करेंगे तो वो ज्यादातर जिसके सैंपल ज्यादा होंगे उनकी तरफ झुकाव उसका बढ़ जाएगा और बाकी में कम तो ये एक अनबैलेंस जो आएगा वो ट्रेनिंग की वजह से आएगा तो बायसनेस जो मोस्टली आती है ना डीप न्यूरल नेटवर्क के मॉडल के अंदर वो आती है फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग एस्पेक्ट कि आपने उसको ट्रेन ही ऐसा किया है कि उसमें इनवेरेंटली बायस मौजूद है अदरवाइज मॉडल खुद से कोई बायसनेस नहीं करता वो तो जो कुछ करता है बेस्ड ऑन द ट्रेनिंग करता है मैंने आपको बताया ना hallucinations जो होती हैं वो भी कहीं से आ रही होती हैं किसी ट्रेनिंग में हिस्सा होती हैं वो पड़ी होती हैं कहीं पे ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि वो ऑटोमेटिकली बस क्रिएट कर देता है नहीं वो कहीं ना कहीं से सोर्स है उसकी वो सोर्स उसकी ट्रेनिंग में छुपी हुई है कहीं ना कहीं ठीक है जी यस मैम देयर वाज अनदर क्वेश्चन somebody asked can that person repeat that question again for me अभी एक चैट में आया था क्वेश्चन कोई एनीबॉडी
अभी रिसेंटली जो आया वो है कैन जनरेटिव एआई सॉल्व कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स लाइक क्लाइमेट चेंज और डिजीज डायग्नोसिस?
जी मेरा ये ख्याल है कि जो एआई का जो जनरेटिव पार्ट है देयर इज टू पार्ट्स एज आई टोल्ड यू डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव पार्ट जनरेटिव पार्ट जनरेटिव पार्ट अब बेहतर होता जा रहा है मॉडल अच्छे से अच्छे मॉडल आ रहे हैं रिसेंटली मैं तो कोडिंग में होता हूँ तो कोडेस्ट्रॉल आई लव दैट कोडेस्ट्रॉल ऑल्दो मेरे पास जो जीपीयू है उसमें 24 जी रैम है, 4090 है मेरे पास RTX। अब मैं क्लस्टर बना रहा हूँ उसको, क्योंकि 4090 का क्लस्टर नहीं बनता, 3090 के दो लेके उनका क्लस्टर बना रहा हूँ ताकि वी रैम बढ़ जाए। क्योंकि एक्चुअली जब आप कोई भी मॉडल उठाते हो उसको आप जब भी रखोगे तो वो वी रैम के अंदर जाता है। जीपीयू की एक वी रैम होती है। तो वो आमतौर पे जो मॉडल छोटे होते हैं ना 7 बिलियन वाले, वो 24 जी में आ जाते हैं। लेकिन जो काम के मॉडल होते हैं वो जरा लार्ज होते हैं, जैसे 70 बिलियन वाला मॉडल जो है वो छोटे जीपीयू में नहीं आ सकता। छोटे जीपीयू का मतलब है जीपीयू छोटा नहीं होता, उसकी वी रैम, वीडियो रैम जिसे कहते हैं, वो छोटी होती है। तो मेरे पास अभी 24 है मैक्सिमम, तो उस वजह से मैं ज़्यादातर 18 या 20 जी वाला मॉडल ही एकोमोडेट कर पाता हूँ। तो उसकी वजह से तो मुझे थोड़े से मसले पेश आते हैं। लेकिन मेरा ये ख्याल है कि जिनके पास ये बड़े A100 या H100 जैसी मशीनें हैं जिसमें 8-8 जीपीयू लगे हुए हैं, आम, वो ऐसे पावरफुल हैं जिनके अंदर 240 जी है। तो उनके अंदर जब ये लेट्स से लामा 3.1 जो है ये 405 बिलियन का जो है, ये सब बहुत पावरफुल मशीन है। ये तो इसका रीजनिंग इंजन इतना पावरफुल है कि मेरा ख्याल है कि ये बहुत ही हाई स्टेक के काम भी कर लेता है। तो डिजीज डायग्नोसिस, क्लाइमेट चेंज तो अभी भी मेरे ख्याल में जनरेटिव एआई के थ्रू हो रही है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट विथ यू। मतलब जितना भी बीबीसी वाले क्लाइमेट कर रहे हैं, जितनी भी अमेरिका में क्लाइमेट हो रही है, CNN वाले कर रहे हैं, ये सारे चैट जीपीटी के थ्रू ही कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि अब वो पुराने मॉडल खत्म हो गए हैं। वो जो लोग बैठ के और उनको कंप्यूटर के ऊपर बनाते थे प्रोग्राम है क्लाइमेट चेंज का, अब वो खत्म हो गया। आप क्लाइमेट के जितने पैरामीटर्स हैं वो दे देते हैं और वो उसकी बेसिस पे चैट जीपीटी का जो है ना, वो ओपन एआई का जो एपीआई है उसको कॉल करते हैं वेदर वाली, और वो आपको आंसर दे देते हैं। तो आई फील इट्स ऑल हैपनिंग। डिजीज का हाँ थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि उसमें वो हाई स्टेक है ना। लेकिन रिसेंटली दे आई सॉ सम इंस्टेंसेस, आई डोंट वांट टू वेरीफाई देम, बट मतलब आइस का ऑपरेशन भी अब एआई के थ्रू हो रहा है। रोबोट को सिखा दिया जाता है कि दैट इज हाउ यू शुड डू एंड देन दे डू इट। सो प्रॉब्ली उसमें यह है कि थोड़ा सा आपको चेक एंड बैलेंस रखना पड़ता है कि उसको हेलुसिनेशन में ना जाए। मैंने कहा ना, जब आपने कोई हाई स्टेक काम करना है तो उसमें आपको फिर कुछ गार्ड्स रखने पड़ेंगे, कुछ चेक एंड बैलेंस रखने पड़ेंगे। आप अनलीश एआई को नहीं छोड़ सकते हो कि वो ऑटोमेटिकली कर दे हर काम। यू नीड टू रियली प्रोटेक्ट योरसेल्फ। जी जी। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? मेरे ख्याल में क्वेश्चन आया था अभी थोड़ी देर पहले, वो जल्दी चला जाता है। आपके पास है
Uh,
क्वेश्चन? जी जी
yes, sir. Chat
जी।
में how to
हाँ
train model in unsupervised learning where data is not labeled.
जी, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एरिया है। मैं मतलब आई वांट टू से दैट वेरी क्लोज टू माय हार्ट इज दिस एरिया, नियर एंड डियर टू मी। मेरी पीएचडी भी बेसिकली टू बी ऑनेस्ट विद यू वाज इन अनसुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग में थी, जो आज से 20 साल पहले थी, 25 साल पहले थी। 99 में मैंने किया था। वो बेसिकली के मीन्स एल्गोरिदम होता है। एक एल्गोरिदम होता है जिसमें हम क्लस्टरिंग करते हैं और वो डेटा अनसुपरवाइज होता है, डेटा पड़ा होता है और आप उसमें से इनिशियली रैंडमली एक क्लस्टर बनाते हो और वो क्लस्टर वक्त के साथ साथ विद ईच आइटरेशन इट ट्राई टू मेक ए गुड क्लस्टर फॉर यू, और वो क्लस्टर बनता है और वो डेटे को क्लस्टर में डिवाइड कर देता है। तो ये जो क्लस्टर में डिवाइड करना डेटे को है, ये अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग है कि उसने लर्निंग कर ली। उसको ये पता चल गया कि इस डेटे में कितनी कैटेगरियां थी। आपने उसको नहीं बताया कि इसमें 4 कैटेगरीज हैं, 2 कैटेगरीज हैं। वो ऑटोमेटिकली डेटा खुद बताता है आफ्टर ट्रेनिंग के मेरे अंदर कितनी क्लासेस पड़ी हुई हैं। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग। बट डेफिनेटली वो भी आपको एक किस्म की उसकी कुछ कंडीशंस हैं उसके इर्द गिर्द, क्योंकि वो एक सोल्यूशन ऐसा है। फिर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा लीनियर अलजेब्रा में जाऊं तो वो अंडर डिटरमिनेंट सिस्टम है। इट मींस कि उसमें फुल रैंक नहीं होता मैट्रिक्स का, तो रैंक डेफिशिएंट मैट्रिक्स होता है वो। तो इन ऑर्डर टू रैंक डेफिशिएंट मैट्रिक्स के बहुत सारे सोल्यूशन होते हैं। सो यू नीड टू फाइंड द राइट सोल्यूशन। तो आपको गाइड करना होता है उस सोल्यूशन की तरफ कि वो उस सोल्यूशन की तरफ जाए जो आप समझती हैं। अदरवाइज इफ यू डोंट प्रोवाइड ए वे, तो जो अनसुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग है इट कैन गो वे वर्ड आउटसाइड, कहीं से भी जा सकते हैं। मैंने आपको पिक्चर भी दिखाई है एक मेरे ख्याल में एक स्लाइड में, जिसमें एक्स्ट्रापोलेशन कहीं भी जा सकती है। सो दिस इज हाउ द अनसुपरवाइज्ड, यू नीड टू बी रियली केयरफुल विद द अनसुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग, क्योंकि उसको गाइड करने वाला कोई नहीं है। यू नीड टू गिव हिम ए गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल्स, दैट्स हाउ इट विल बी गाइडेड। जी जी। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
No, sir, no more.
Gee, any question? I really enjoyed talking to you guys, and I feel कि मैं आप लोगों को जनरेटिव एआई के बारे में कुछ बता सका हूँ, so it's my pleasure कि ये बड़ा अच्छा आप लोगों ने अरेंज किया है इसको. So Laiba, you had raised your hand and now you have no more question. So ये सारे आप बैठे हुए हो माशाल्लाह, so you can ask any question you want. क्योंकि एक्चुअली मैं थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिकली भी
To
काम
ask,
कर रहा हूँ इसके ऊपर, तो इस वजह से मेरे मेरे जहन में जी जी जी.
sir, actually, I'm asking that how can AI chatbots avoid insensitive, toxic, or unsafe responses?
Gee, Laiba, I just informed that जब AI झूठ बोलता है तो बड़ा ढटाई के साथ बोलता है, बड़े कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ बोलता है. But you would be able to discriminate कि ये ठीक कह रहा है गलत कह रहा है. So there should always be a human being which should have a final check. That is very important. आप जो कुछ भी कर रहे हो, जिस सिस्टम में भी कर रहे हो, आपको उसमें एक ह्यूमन बीइंग जरूर रखना पड़ेगा. इसलिए मैं कहता हूं कि ह्यूमन बीइंग की जॉब को कुछ नहीं होगा. हाँ, उसकी जॉब की नेचर चेंज हो जाएगी. अब उसको वो काम नहीं करने पड़ेंगे जो पहले काम करने पड़ते थे. अब उसको चेक करने वाला काम करना पड़ेगा. काम होके आया होगा, उसने सिर्फ चेक करना होगा कि ये काम ठीक है या गलत है. सो दिस इज द वे टू लुक एट इट. मेरा ये ख्याल है कि अगर आपके पास चैट बॉट है और उस में से कुछ ऐसी चीजें आ रही हैं, तो मेरा पहला शक ये होगा कि किसी ने उसको ट्रेन किया हुआ इस तरह. तो द ट्रेनिंग ऑफ द चैट बॉट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. कि वो खुद से कुछ नहीं करते. वट एवर दे डू, द ए आई वट एवर दे जनरेट, गुड और बैड, ऑलवेज बेस्ड ऑन द ट्रेनिंग. उसके ट्रेनिंग सैंपल्स के अंदर ही कुछ ऐसा है जिसकी वजह से वो ये आंसर दे रहे हैं. जी 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 मैम.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
श्योर वेलकम. जी चलिए.
Okay, do we have more questions? I guess that's it, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much. And I hope if you have any question, you can reach me. And through Shalina, probably you can reach me and ask question, and I will be more than willing to answer you. So it was really nice talking to you, and it's a really interesting topic, and I feel that there is a lot happening in the world right now. And you can see that the world around us are changing very fast, and definitely computer science has been changed now. वो अब रहा ही नहीं है कंप्यूटर साइंस वो पुराने दौर वाला. अब तो you need to be active to really come up with something very realistic. So I would encourage you all to look into the YouTube, see what is going on, how the world is changing, and become part of it. Okay, and let me know if there is something. मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि कुछ लोगों का ग्रुप बनाऊं एआई के अंदर, और हम मिलके कोई अच्छा काम कर सकें. कोई अच्छा कमर्शियल काम भी करें, यूनिवर्सिटी का काम भी करें. बट सो इफ सम ऑफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड टू डू this journey of AI, but keep in mind that maybe it's not an easy journey in the beginning, but definitely it's a fruitful journey anyway. So अगर आप में से कुछ लोग interested हों इस journey में जाने में, so we have some couple of projects that I can share with you and you can work on them. Okay, so let me know. I'm trying to make a group. So मेरा इरादा है कि इंशाल्लाह I will make a small group who can work on this one. So if any of you are interested, you can give your names to Shalina, and then we can do a small interview process, and then we can embark on it as a small startup in AI to do something different than everybody else is doing. तो हम ये वेब पेज वगैरह ये वाली गेमें नहीं खेलेंगे, हम एआई के थ्रू कुछ करेंगे. ऐसा वेब पेजेस बनाएंगे, कोई ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम बनाएंगे पूरा का पूरा एआई के थ्रू. So we will do something very innovative. So let me know, okay? And Shalina के थ्रू आप मुझ तक आ
Okay,
सकते हैं।
so whoever wants to join the group or have any questions, I've shared my LinkedIn ID, so you can just text me over there. And secondly, thank you so much everyone for joining. And I'm really glad कि आज का event इतना अच्छा हुआ, and thank you sir for such a, we
वेलकम।
can say, such a nice event.
तो शलीना
Okay.
आप मुझे शेयर कर सकती हो जब भी किसी का क्वेश्चन आए या कोई लोग काम करना चाहें तो वी कैन वर्क टुगेदर। या सो लेट मी नो ऑन द लिंक्डइन यू
Yes,
कैन
sure.
सेंड मैसेज।
Sure, sure.
श्योर।
Yes.
थैंक यू
Okay.
वेरी मच।
You're welcome.
ओके जी, लिंक्डइन पे मेरा प्रोफाइल मौजूद है। यू कैन सेंड मी मैसेजेस इफ यू वांट एनी ऑफ यू एंड सो वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग वेरी सून। अगले 10 दिन के अंदर ही आई विल, बिकॉज अभी डेटा फेस्ट हो रहा है कुछ ही दिनों में, तो अभी आज ही मुझे प्राइम मिनिस्टर के सेक्रेटेरिएट से कॉल आई है कि यू आर गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर। आई डोंट नो व्हाई दे मेक मी गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर। आई एम रियली सरप्राइज्ड एट दिस, बट समटाइम्स वो कहते हैं कि दीवाने का भी दिन आता है एक दिन कि उससे भी पूछा जाता है। सो I will be joining is as a guest of honor in the Data Fest. It's a very nice conference by the Bureau of Statistics in Pakistan, and they are working on NLP. तो probably उन्होंने मेरा कोई NLP का काम देख लिया है कि उनको पसंद आया और मुझे कॉल करना चाह रहे थे। So the Prime Minister Secretariat would like to work with me. Imagine कि किस किस्म का काम हो रहा है इस वक्त। इस वक्त बगैर AI के, बगैर NLP के, I feel it's very hard to stay afloat. We will drown very soon, not today, but अगर हम AI में ना गए, हम NLP में ना गए, अगर हम llamas में ना गए, तो we are gone, we are history. तो मेरा ये ख्याल है कि इंशाल्लाह आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक ए ग्रुप ताकि हम एक्टिवली कोई काम कर सकें और कोई बहुत बड़ा बिग बैंग करने का इरादा है इंशाल्लाह। आई एम ए वेरी बिग फैन ऑफ एलन मस्क and I would like to become one of you. If you want to become Elon Musk, join me. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
thank you so much. Allah
Thank you.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.